I am Chiquita Holmes. I'm 33 years old and I have stage 5 end stage renal failure. When I was 26 years old, I gave birth to my son, and a couple of months afterwards, they told me my kidneys were shutting down, and I started on dialysis in 2016, and it's been a long journey. My blood type is O positive. I can receive from a donor of O negative or O positive. And for anyone that might need to know, you can live with one kidney, but my kidneys are not working, so I have to live on dialysis until I receive a kidney. This is a long journey, and there are some days that are good and some days that aren't, some moments that are good, some moments that are not. But I just want to be able to live with my children and have a more prosperous life off of dialysis and see what 34 could be like.
My name is William Holmes. I am married to Chiquita Holmes, and we have two kids together, Zaya Holmes and William Holmes Jr., or Liam. Where to start? For me, it starts when they were born. Um, Both of them were premature. Zaya was born at 30 weeks, and our son Liam was born at 28 weeks. So I remember the night Zaya was born. Um, Chiquita had to go to the hospital about a week before because she wasn't feeling good. So her doctor, her OB, decided to send her to Savannah for the high-risk team to take care of her. So she was there for about a week, and then I couldn't stay with her because I had to work. So I went with her to drop her off, came back to the house, and then went to work, and hopefully she would get better. About a week later, got a call saying, hey, we're about to take the baby out right now because of, what do they call it, preeclampsia. She had a lot of fluid in her lungs and things were just going bad. Zaya's heart rate was dropping, so they decided it was best to take the baby out right then and there. I was at work at the time, so I had to hurry up and get off my work shift and find someone to take care of the dog we had at the time and head to Savannah. And I'll never forget when I got there, Chiquita was in ICU, and I had never seen anybody in ICU. So the first time I saw somebody in ICU was my wife, and I completely lost it. I give a lot of thanks to the nurse at the time. I don't remember her name, but she really helped calm me down. About an hour later, I said, how's my daughter? Or how's my baby? So they showed me my baby, Zaya, and she was just the smallest thing I'd ever seen. But yeah, that's a night I will never forget. And then I believe it was about a couple weeks later, they released Chiquita. Zaya stayed in for about a month and a half, maybe, in the NICU. Fast forward 2 years later, roughly, and then we kind of went through the same thing when Liam was born. When I got to the hospital, Chiquita was in ICU, and Liam was in the NICU. So he was born at 28 weeks. So he was about 2 weeks He was born 2 weeks earlier than Zaya was in terms of 40-week pregnancy. So he was about 12 weeks early. Um, but the second time around, I guess I was a little more prepared. I kind of knew what to expect, but it's still a tough thing to deal with. Uh, if you don't know, this was Savannah Memorial, so the hospital is kind of big, and the adult ICU and the pediatric NICU were really far apart. So I had to go from one area to the next. Luckily, they let me stay in the hospital, but trying to balance who do I see, and then I got people on all sides of our family calling for updates, and it kind of got to be overwhelming, I would say, just trying to balance. I see my wife this time, and then I go see the kids, and then they want you to like hold the kids and feed them, but then I got to go back to see my wife because I had to try and get breast milk from her. She was still unconscious, so. But yeah, that I would say it all started when they were born, as far as difficult medical situations in the family.
From 2016, I can't really remember exactly how many times. I stay in the hospital a lot due to the kidney failure. There's many times that I go to the hospital, maybe from low calcium or just blood related issues with dialysis, but I don't quite know exactly how many times I've been in the hospital.
I would say she averages about 5 hospital stays a year, sometimes more, sometimes less. This year we've been lucky. She hasn't been there that much. I would say I think she's been 3 times so far this year. And today's the last day of the year, so. But yeah, about 5 times a year. It could be anything from low calcium to pain in some part of her body, or she just doesn't feel good. And sometimes it's dialysis related, sometimes it's not. The tough part is when you go to the emergency room, they're always going to blame it on dialysis, at least at first. And it's hard to talk to the doctors about their field. I wouldn't say, they're doctors, but they're not nephrologists in the emergency room. So they kind of just say, well, you need dialysis and that'll fix it. But that's not always the case. But it's hard to tell a doctor that. So you kind of have to just roll with it until they eventually figure out, oh, it's not dialysis, it's this other thing. And by that time, you've been in the emergency room 12, 24 hours. And whatever is causing the problem has made her feel even worse than when you first brought her there. Until they figure out, and it's like they don't want to believe you until they figure it out. Anyway, that's one of the hard things about going to the hospital is trying to tell the doctors, we've been through this before, we kind of know what it is. If you could just kind of start your troubleshooting here, maybe that'll quicken up the process, but it doesn't always work that way.
On the donor list, in order to get on the donor list, you have to basically have all of your, they have like a qualification list that you have to go through where you have to meet certain things. But once you pass all of those tests, like having to make sure that your phosphorus is great, your calcium is great, you have to have certain blood levels to make sure like your creatinine level is at a certain level, your hemoglobin has to stay at a certain level. But with all of those different criteria that you have to go through on the list, you have to make sure that you do your treatments. And being on dialysis, I'm on hemodialysis, you have to make sure you do at least 5 treatments a week. And when you're going on the list, in order to be counted active on the list, or should I say listed active on the list, you have to make sure you maintain your dialysis treatments. And as far as your nurse, they have to look at all of those things. But you have to make sure that you do your treatments. You have to make sure that you maintain a healthy diet and go to all of your doctor's appointments. But with that list, you have to make sure that you keep, I guess, a clear diet. And when you go to your doctor's appointments, you basically have to keep a track of all of your health issues with your dialysis, blood pressure levels, and different things. So you have to make sure that all of your levels are at a certain number. And once you're at that certain number, you basically stay on the list. But if you get sick, they put you on what's called hold. And when you're on hold, until your doctor can verify that you no longer have that sickness again and that you've been cleared, you'll be staying on hold. So, and every hospital stay places you on hold until they verify that you're well enough to not be on hold. Every time that I go into the hospital, it's depending on how sick you are. If it's anything that can damage the kidney or getting a transplant, if it's anything that can damage that, they're going to place you on hold until they can verify that you are well enough to receive the kidney. So every hospital stay, I would say, they place you on hold because they want to make sure that if they give you a kidney, that you're well enough to keep it. So it's very hard. Every hospital stay, anytime I get sick, I have to verify twice as hard that I'm well enough to receive the kidney. And even if I do everything I'm supposed to do, the doctors, they don't really listen to the patient. It has to come from the doctor. The state basically, she's well enough to receive a transplant, to be placed back active. I was just in the hospital 3 weeks ago. I'm still on hold. Yes. Once I've probably been in the hospital for weeks, because it's never a day or two that I come out. I stay in there for weeks at a time, and once I come out, they always verify tests at the hospital to make sure that you're cleared before they discharge you. Being a dialysis patient, I believe by law, they have to clear you before they can even discharge you, because if something happens, being on Medicare, they technically can, I guess, lose their license. But when they verify you, or should I say when they clear you in the hospital to make sure that you're well enough to leave, according to my knowledge, my discharge papers state that I am cleared, and from the discharge papers, the doctors have cleared me, my nurses know, and they automatically send it over to my clinic, my dialysis clinic. So, and it goes straight to the hospital as well for my transplant, or the person that I'm supposed to go to for the transplant. And so it goes over to them. So when I get out of the hospital, I'm technically cleared at that point to go back on the transplant list as active, because everything is already charted that I'm cleared. But when I come out, I just thought the follow-up appointment that you have with your doctor's office, that, that just verifies everything from the hospital is okay and it's good to go. But with the doctors that do not send it over to the clinic, to the hospital transplant team, then I'll still be placed on hold. But there's a committee, transplant committee, that they place to a board. They sit like around a table and present me to the board to basically state Chiquita Holmes is cleared from our standpoint, and she can be placed back on as active on the list instead of on hold. But it only comes every Tuesday. So if I get out of the hospital on a Monday, it's not like that next day Tuesday I'll be presented. It's whenever they decide to go present me to the board. And that's stating if the doctors have all come together to send in their information to the hospital. If they never sent in their information to the hospital, then I'm just basically discharged from the hospital. They never sent anything over to state that I'm out of the hospital, I'm cleared. They're just kind of waiting for me to call to see what's the next standpoint. And so sometimes I get out of the hospital and I'm thinking all of my information was sent over, and it'll be weeks that pass by and my doctors may not have even sent anything over to the hospital, and therefore I'm still placed on hold. And I'll never know until I call. So it's a long journey of trying to figure out, because you can't really understand doctors' minds or if they done what they're supposed to do. Even if I do everything I'm supposed to do, I'm not sure if the doctor did what they said they were going to do. It's taken a great toll. With my children, I think it's probably the worst, because when I get sick, children don't understand sickness. They only understand, I need my mommy, I need this, I need that. So when you're a mother and you're sick, it is really, you have to fight through your sickness to still take care of your children. And children don't, like I said, they don't understand sickness. So when I go to the hospital, I have to tell them, I'm just gonna go and I'll be right back. But my kids have heard that so many times and I don't come right back. So it's like, they're like, well, are you coming back tonight? You coming back in the morning? You coming back tomorrow? And then it's like weeks or maybe a month at a time that I'll be gone. And I think it takes a great toll on them because they're wondering if I'm ever going to come back, or if I'm going to be okay when I come back, or am I not going to be able to touch mommy when she come back because she's so sore. And then with my husband, he has to go through everything mentally because he has to take care of me. He has to take care of the bills. He has to work. He has to drive me to the doctor's appointments. He has to learn how to work the dialysis machine. He has to be able to turn off the dialysis machine. And it's just a lot on him because he has to deal with all of this stuff going to work. He has to deal with all this stuff coming from work. And it's just us. It's just the four of us. It's not like we have a whole team of people to help. I have my mom and my dad, which are my step parents that God blessed me with. They're not my biological parents, but they're the best that I have. And I'm so grateful for them because when I go to the hospital, they literally take on everything. I don't have to ask for anything pertaining to my kids, but it's still a lot because they have to still kind of, just deal with the fact that I'm sick, but not only care for me, have to try to, cuddle my children at the same time and trying to encourage them that I'll be okay, but they're not really sure if I'm going to be okay. So it's kind of really hard on everyone, but I would say my children get probably the greater deal of it because they're only 7 and 9.
When she first went on dialysis, she had to go, like everybody does, to the dialysis clinic, and you do your dialysis there, usually about 3 days a week, usually 4 times each treatment, 4 hours each treatment. And the hard thing about that is when she first went on, like I said, we had a 2-year-old and an infant. And this whole time, they're still kids even now. But back then it was hard because that's basically like a part-time job where 4 hours 3 times a week. That's 12 hours. And then after the treatment, she's got to go to sleep because it makes her tired. So you got 4 hours of the treatment. You come home, you go to sleep. By the time she wakes up and she's ready to play with the kids are tired. They're ready to go to bed. It's 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So that was another tough thing. Those 3 days a week that whatever day she's going to go to dialysis at the clinic, that's basically a day away from mommy from their point of view.
My name is Zaya Sana Holmes. I'm 9 years old. We are trying to stick together and help her a lot. Mommy is like a person where you feel sad and stuff. Like when you don't feel yourself, I always go talk to her and she makes me feel a lot better.
I asked her, well, I think the day before yesterday, she said 5. She said it was 5 times. I just know. Yeah, I know of 3 for sure. But she said 5. And so, yeah. But I know that there was one that was here for sure, and she had to use the Google Echo. I can't say it loud because it'll go Google Echo. And she had to use that. I think she might have been like 4 or 5, and she had to call my dad on that to come get them. And then the one in Atlanta, that was when she literally had to rub like honey on my gums. And then one night, I guess they came in here from Savannah, and I was literally I was trying to get in the shower and I had them passed out in there. So I know that was 3 that I know for sure. I don't know the other 2. I'm pretty sure they happened. But yeah, I know for sure it was 3.
I think when I was 4, I found her in the bathroom and she passed out. The first thing is I get my dad. Then, the second time, I think, we tried to find something sweet to put in her mouth. And then, like honey or syrup or stuff like that. It's very scary. Like I cry every time it happens. It's really scary. We were on the couch watching a movie, and then my mom didn't feel good, and she called her doctor, and then she passed out, and I told her doctor to call 911. Well, no, I called 911 because I thought that was the safest thing to do.
She definitely has been my saving grace a lot of times. Where she, like, if my husband wasn't here, she would have to end up calling somebody to try to rescue them or rescue me, where she's had to call 911 to actually come get me because I was unresponsive and all kind of stuff. So.
Who taught you how to sing?
Mommy?
Yeah, you like singing?
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all go to church together a lot?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us one of your favorite songs that your mom played?
I think never lost the battle. I think that's what it's called.
How does that go? I've never heard that one.
Miracles when you move, such an easy thing for you to do. Your hand is moving right now. You still showing up at the tune of every Lazarus. Your voice is calling me out. And right now, I know you're able. And my God, come through again. You can do all things. You can do all things but fail. 'Cause you never lost a battle. No, you never lost a battle. And I know, you never will.
I was actually told in the hospital by one of the doctors that they were running a test on me to see how many times I asked for a medication. And they said that African Americans tolerate pain. Their pain tolerance is higher than the average person. I don't know what the average person is, but they say African American pain tolerance is higher. So I think I want to say that I guess as an African American woman, it's not that we get treated with the equal amount of respect as other people. It's a lot harder because being young as well, I was told that they thought that I'm just there to score drugs, all kind of different things, that my kidney issue was related to, I guess, drugs. But even with the different biopsies that they've done, they never could determine what caused my kidney failure. But it's really hard being an African American young person, and definitely a woman, because they want to say basically our pain tolerance is higher, so we can take the pain. I was in one of the hospitals for 30 days. I had an infection in my stomach from being on dialysis. I had a PD catheter, which is called peritoneal dialysis, and I caught an infection in my stomach from that. And I was actually supposed to be given the antibiotics in the hospital, in the dialysis clinic before I left. But the nurse on staff did not give me the medicine because she said the doctor did not order it for her to give it to me. So, but it was told that the doctor actually put it in his notes for her to give me the medicine. Long story short, I didn't get the medicine, and it made me end up in the hospital. I ended up in the hospital, and they had to take the catheter out but they didn't take the catheter out. I had to kind of get the infection cleared up first, but which didn't make sense because until they take the catheter out, I was going to keep getting the infection. But they were trying to give me antibiotics, but this was during COVID. They had the IV nurse, I guess the doctor who was supposed to come in, or should I say the nurse who was supposed to come in to give me an IV. She had COVID, is what they told me, and so she couldn't come give me the IV because she was out. They had one doctor in the whole hospital that was supposed to, I guess, send nurses in the whole hospital to give me an IV. And so I asked them if they had somebody that might have been in the ICU department that could come in because I have very small veins due to dialysis. And when your veins are very small, they can't really find anything. You have to get a vein finder or a certain, what is it called? PIC line or midline, either one of those you can do. But it has to be like through a special nurse who can come in, they do it. And so I was waiting on the lady to come the whole time, and so they never came, which means my medicine was hanging on the IV above my head. I remember seeing the tag on it that said, be given by 5 p.m. This was like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm trying to figure out is somebody going to get my medicine or not. So I was pressing the button, trying to ask them if, hey, somebody come give me my medicine? Can somebody come and give me my medicine? No one never would come. And so I knew, I was like, it was getting late. I know the next shift start at 7. Like I said, it was 8 o'clock. No one never came in the door, and I'm trying to figure out, is somebody going to come? So I kept pressing the button. So I'm like, the only thing I knew to do was to get on Facebook Live. During COVID, nobody could visit me. I only had one visitor. That's my husband. He was at work. So I'm like, let me go Facebook Live. At least I can have a lot of people that might can talk to me now or that'll be watching to see that I'm being mistreated in this hospital. So, of course, you have to have some kind of proof. So I turned the camera around to show the IV bag over my head. I'm like, my medicine is hanging over my head. There's no IVs. Nowhere on my body. How do I get the medicine if it's hanging over my head? So I had a couple of my friends that are nurses that joined in and was trying to explain to me who I need to call, press the button, walk down the hall, try to go find somebody at the nurse station, everything. We went to the nurse station, and as I showed them the camera, I turned the camera around, everybody's light was flashing on their doors because everybody had pressed their button. No one cared. No one cared that I was in there. No one cared that I had an infection in my stomach that was eating away at my stomach. No one cared. I went back in my room at that point, and I was trying to, I was trying to make it back to my room. The lady that was in the room next to me, we could hear her crying in her room, and that's when I was telling her, I said, do y'all hear that? The lady next door to me is even crying. And so when I went back into my room, I had a couple people join in on the video. And I was like, y'all, I'm literally not going to make it in this hospital. I was like, I don't know why nobody's not answering me. And so a couple of my friends would join in and talk to me on the Facebook Live. And I kept trying to tell everybody, share it. And so a lot of people would share the different video. And once I was talking to them through the Facebook Live, I was trying to explain like what was going on. I felt my blood sugar dropping, and I'm trying to press the button. I'm like, my blood sugar's dropping. Hey, can somebody answer me? My blood sugar's dropping. And I remember my husband always packed snacks in my bag, at the bottom of my bag. So I went to my bag, thankfully, and I had some juice in there. I had some crackers in there, Dole peach fruit cups in there. It's like little things that are counting to help bring my blood sugar up. And so I had my blood sugar machine inside of there, and I went and took it and I checked it, and my blood sugar was like 42, which is very, very low. And so I was like, my blood sugar is 42. I'm like, it's going to keep dropping. It's going to keep dropping. And so as I kept trying to drink the juice and eat the peaches, I was trying to tell my friends as they was coming in on the Facebook Live, like, I don't think nobody's in this hospital. I think I might be on this floor by myself, other than the lady that's next door crying. And as I'm talking, And I guess they could hear everybody coming. And I guess, like I said, a lot of people had started sharing the video. I started seeing security running in my room. They're telling me I need to turn the camera off. We can't record anything inside this room. I need to turn the camera off. Turn what camera off? What can I not record? It's my room. There's nobody in here. I'm not violating no HIPAA or anything. This is just me. I'm like, but how can you all run in here and tell me to turn the camera off, but nobody's answering me when I press to tell y'all my blood sugar is dropping? I have no IV. My medicine is hanging over my head, and no one's answering me in this hospital. And I've been in here for days now without my medicine. But as I was in the hospital, trying to basically prove that I was being mistreated, they would take me down for different surgeries. And as I went down for one surgery, I was laying on the table and I was telling the doctor that I could still feel the cuts that he was doing in my stomach. And they told me that I could not feel it. I'm like, I do feel that. And they were like, I guess the medicine that they was giving me, he was telling them to give me a little bit more medicine. And then as they tried to give me the medicine, I was like, maybe the IV's not working. I said, because I don't feel the medicine that you're giving me that's supposed to numb my stomach. I can still feel what you're doing. And so they were telling me that I was there just to score medicine. And so as I was basically telling him that I could still feel the cuts, I guess at that point, the lady, because they usually have the doctor and then they have the whole sheet and they have like a nurses or whoever that stands on the side. And the nurse was standing there like holding my hand. She's telling me to just kind of like squeeze her hand. And as I was squeezing her hand, I guess she could kind of see like that my eyes were going, like I guess going in the back of my head or something. But I was like basically trying to squeeze her hand because the pain was just so bad that I could feel it. And like, it's like my whole body like felt like I was literally like shaking. And I was telling them I could still feel it. And so the lady had whispered to me, she said, "Can you feel that?" And I said, "Yes." And she's like, "I think she can still feel that. Like, I don't know. Maybe she really is telling the truth. Like, I think this lady can feel it." And it's like, at that point, it's like, all I could start hearing on the machine was, it's like the machine started going off. And then it just felt like my chest, like, started, like, speeding up. And then I don't know what happened, but, like, after that, it just felt like I was kind of, like, falling. But obviously I was laying on the bed, but it felt like I was falling. And the only thing I remember was like, it's kind of like I blacked out, but I promise you, I was talking to God. And I asked God how long, like, would I have to go through this? And when I asked him, he said that you're not done yet. And he sent me back. And it's like, when I got back, I was laying on the table and I was still trying to tell the lady like that I could still feel it, and I just asked God, "Why did you send me back?" And he said, "Because I wasn't done yet." So it's like, I don't know the real reason that I'm going through this, but it's hard, and I know that God told me that I still have work to do and that I'm not done, but what God didn't tell me was how I'm going to get through it. He just told me that I have to go through it and that I'm not done. But it's hard because when you're in the hospital, nobody understands the pain that you have to fight through physically, emotionally, but mentally. That's the hard part, because even though your physical might show one thing, whether doctors understand it or not, and you can be totally fine and make it through it. But when you go through that, it's like your mental state still is reliving it. And it doesn't matter how many times that I go into the hospital after this, I'm going to always relive the hospital stay that I had for 30 days, because I laid on that table and I don't know, I feel like I died, because I don't know how else I would have talked to God. I heard the machines. I know that they brought me back because it's stated in my records that they brought me back. But I know I faced God and he told me that I had work to do, and he let me come back. But it was proven that they did different things to me there. They gave me medicine that I was not supposed to take. When you're on dialysis, your potassium goes high and it can stop your heart. And so they have to lower your potassium. The medicine that they gave me was medicine that can cause a high rise in your blood potassium. If my potassium was already high, why would they give me medicine to make it higher? That's the question I asked the lady, the doctor that was on staff when she came. I asked her, why did she give me that medicine? And my stepmom was on camera when I had her. I was like video chatting her, and I asked the doctor that morning when she did the rounds, and the doctor ran out of my room. My stepmom will let you all know this to this day, that is exactly what happened on the camera. She ran out of the room when I asked, why would you give me a medicine that could stop my heart? So it's kind of weird when I'm in a hospital, when you're supposed to go to the hospital for help, and doctors don't help you, but they make it worse. It's like I'm a guinea pig. Like, that's what I feel like sometimes. Like, they're just testing you to do this and do that to see whether it'll work. They're not really sure, but they just want to see if it'll work. And then there's other doctors that feel like, maybe she's just here to score drugs. She's young. She's African American. Her pain tolerance is a lot higher, so she'll be fine. So it's kind of hard each hospital stay because you don't know which doctor to trust. You don't know who you can trust as a nurse, as a worker, because I feel like since COVID, nobody really cares. And there might be some people who really do care, but it's kind of hard to trust anybody because it's like it's no genuine love anymore. Like, you don't really know. So being sick and on dialysis is hard because it's something you have to have. You have to have your blood cleared. You have to have dialysis. Once you start on dialysis, you can't just stop dialysis. You have to keep going unless you get in a transplant. I mean, unless by some miracle your blood, your kidneys just start back working. And I believe that it can, but I mean, so far, yeah, it hasn't. But it's hard. It's so hard. There's days where I can't even sleep. Like, I'll just be up for hours and hours at a time because it's like my mind is going and going and going and going. And it's like, what can I do to make this better? If I've done everything I'm supposed to do, I've already did my medicine, I watched what I ate, I've done my dialysis treatment, I'll contact my doctors, I'll contact my nurses, I went to my doctor's appointments. What more can I do? If I've made videos on Facebook, if I've tried to have a benefit concert to raise money, if I've done all of this, what can I do? And yes, we could raise the money for the transplant, but it's not the money. If I don't have the kidney, it doesn't mean anything. I raised the money and the money is in an account waiting. There's nothing I can do with it if I don't have the kidney. So it's like I've done everything that I'm supposed to do, and it feels like I'm still not doing anything because it's hard. It's so hard. And like when I have to just go through my day knowing that I still have to be a mom where my kids are making straight A's, and maybe I want to celebrate by taking my kids to the movies, or maybe we can have a game night this night and just play board games. And I want to do this, but then I can't do it because I have to go get on the machine for 4 hours, or I have to get up to go to work the next morning after being on the machine for 4 hours, or get off work and have to come home and set up the machine to be on the machine for 4 hours. It's draining. Or if you want to go out of town for the weekend, I can't because I have a machine that I have to be on. So dialysis is something that it's a never-ending cycle. Like, you have to do it in order to live, and it's just something that's not going to change. It's kind of draining. I don't want to say aggravating because it's my life that I have to live, but it's tiring. And I just feel like each hospital stay makes that harder and harder because I have to relive, am I going to make it out of the hospital this time? Is this doctor really genuine? Do this doctor really care? Or is this it? And is this going to be the last time that I make it back home to my babies? Was that the last time I might see my babies tonight? So it's very draining, it's difficult, and scary.
That was a tough time because that was during COVID. That was summer of 2021, I believe. Um, one of the things that sticks out about that one, I don't even remember. Um, actually, before that hospital stay, that was, I believe, July of that year. Before that hospital stay, no, that was August of that year. July of that year, we were in Atlanta just visiting other family for 4th of July. She had to stay in the hospital up there for about 10 days. And because her PD catheter was infected, and she was up there for about 10 days. I guess they felt it was, they had cured her enough to release her, and we came back here. Her stomach started getting bloated again, and she started feeling sick. Knowing she just had an infection, we feared that it came back, and we were in Brunswick at the clinic up there, so they told us to go to the hospital. Well, there's only one hospital to go to, so we went to that one. And one of the things I'll never forget is when we got there, we waited in the emergency room for 12 hours before they would send us back, before they would visit her to see. We sat in that room for 12 hours in the waiting room. And I still kick myself to this day. At hour number 2, hour number 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, we should have just left and went to another hospital. But I don't know why I didn't do that. And it could have prevented that whole mess. But 12 hours later, she got into one of the emergency rooms, and the doctors diagnosed her and decided she needed this to stay, to be admitted. And like I said, that was during COVID, so it seemed like everything took longer. They had a really strict visitor policy. Kids couldn't see her. I think only one visitor a day, and it could only be the same visitor. So if whoever came to visit her, the first person, that person, once they left, nobody else could visit her. But that was, like I said, that was during COVID, so I guess that's kind of understandable. But it seemed like that hospital stay, they kind of went around. They wanted to work on what they wanted to work on, not what seemed to be the issue. They wanted to see if she was trying to just get pain medicine, or they felt like something wasn't bothering her, what she said was bothering her. And everything just it took them 3 days to order a x-ray or whatever. There's no way it should have taken that long. She spent a lot of time just sitting in her room, looking at outside the window. It was difficult because, for one, I still had to work. At the time, I worked in Jacksonville, so Jacksonville to Brunswick's not a short trip. Plus the kids, it's summertime, so we didn't have. Well, I guess they had just started school, I believe, like at the beginning of that hospital stay. So their first day of school, I had to take them to school, and mommy couldn't be there, so they were sad about that. And the first month of school, the kids do a lot of stuff with their class, with their teachers and their classmates, and they want mommy to see this and that and say, hey mommy, I have this teacher and we did this, and they couldn't do that. They couldn't even come to the hospital because of COVID. So The 30-day hospital stay, it was bad because it seemed like the doctors didn't know what they wanted to do or didn't know what to do or a lot of stuff like that. But also because she was away from home for 30 days, and like I said, young kids at the time, they were, I think, 5 and 7 maybe, kindergarten and second grade. So what makes it hard is because it's hard on them. And luckily for us, we've got great. My mother and father-in-law are great. You know, they watch them, no questions asked. Take them to school, pick them up, buy clothes, buy food, whatever it is. But you know, the kids, they want to see mommy and they want to see me because I'm not with them. I'm with mommy in the hospital. So there was a lot of factors into that one that made it bad.
It's like I got to sit here and act like it's okay. Like, oh, she's on dialysis. Well, that's what happened. She died because she was on dialysis. No, tell the truth. Because y'all neglected to do what you were supposed to do. That's what happened. I fought through so much. And it's aggravating. Like, it's so aggravating because, yes, these doctors have families, but I have a family too. And I have to sit here and act like it's okay. It's not okay. My dialysis it did not come from me being placed on dialysis. It did not come from me being on drugs. It did not come from me drinking. It did not come from me going out there partying. I had preeclampsia when I was pregnant with my son, and they take the baby earlier because usually for the woman, the blood pressure will go down and it'll be fine. Mine never resolved. And that is why I'm on dialysis. It was not because my blood sugar was too high, me being a diabetic. It was not because I was drinking. It was not because I was smoking. It was none of that. I had preeclampsia from childbirth. And after I gave birth, it never resolved. And that was how I got put on dialysis. Just extreme high blood pressure that never resolved. So it's kind of hard because it's not something that I've done to make me get like this. It just happened. I don't regret having my son. It's not his fault. It's just something that happened. So, but it's hard that I still have to live like this, and it might be somebody out there that can help me, and I don't know what story I got to say besides the truth to make somebody help me, but it's aggravating. It's so aggravating. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, all I know is to be cheerful and to be happy because anytime somebody see me in the store, I'm just smiling, hey, and I could just be in excruciating pain, but it's like, I don't know no other way to be but to just be me, and I'm just gonna smile. I'm out like I'm okay. Yeah, I'm crying now, but 2 seconds later I'll be smiling again, and that's just who I am. But my husband was like, well, maybe you should show people how you feel. Maybe you should not be so cheerful and so happy. Tell them, I don't feel good. When people say, Keita, how you doing? I'll be like, I'm fine. How you doing? Or, oh, how's so-and-so doing? But instead of saying fine, I'm not saying that I'm fine. I'm saying I'm fine because maybe that's what you understand. If I tell you how I really feel, can you handle it? You can't handle it. So it's best to just say you're fine because people can't deal with it. And that. It's like you can't deal with it. Nobody can deal. Thank you. Nobody can deal with it. Yeah, nobody can deal with the fact that you're not fine. So it's best to just say that you're fine. Yeah, if you say, oh, I don't feel good, and yeah, I was on the machine the other day and I passed out, and the rescue unit had to come get me, and I went to the hospital and they gave me even more fluid. I'm already not supposed to have a lot of fluid. They gave me even more fluid when I was at the hospital. Why would they do that? Nobody don't understand what you're even talking about. So it's best to just say you're fine. So I had to learn it. I'm like, everybody can't handle it. So you're fine. Because when people say, how you doing? They don't really want to know. They don't really care. It's a form of speech. How you doing? Fine. As a family, we play games together. Zaya and me, we bake. I love to bake cakes and sweet treats and different things like that. Zaya loves to help out in the kitchen. She loves to cook. She thinks that she's the co-chef. What I say? She goes in there a lot of times. She's like, "Can I crack the eggs?" And I'm like, "Sure, Zaya." And then once she get a little something on her hand, she wanna go wipe it off. I'm like, "You'll be okay. Just keep going." But we cook together, we play games together. I try every Friday night for us to watch a movie and play games. I pop some popcorn. On Sundays, we kind of have like a little family day where we'll just sit around the table and we'll eat, or I'll let them bring their little food trays in the living room and we'll sit down. But I try to do different family things because memories with family will last a whole lot longer than $1. You can give a kid $5 and you'll take them to the store, and those $5 will be gone that same day. But if you give the kids $5 and they put the $5 in their pocket, but then you get the stuff and you sit down with the popcorn and you sit down with the movie and you have the blankets on the floor and all that, they remember the movie and the popcorn and the blanket better than they will remember those $5 that's in their pocket, because the $5 might be going that same day, $5 will be going the next day, but they're gonna always remember that movie night that they had on that floor with the popcorn and sitting in front of the TV. They remember that. So I think family time is very important. When I was growing up as a kid, I didn't have many moments like that with my parents. So I try to make memories like that that'll last a lifetime with my children, because memories with your family will last a whole lot longer than a dollar amount will. And money can't buy love. I don't believe it can. So memories with family, that's a lifetime itself.
When do y'all do the what's it called?
Oh, the snack crate. Yeah, I used to do a lot of snack crate videos. Oops, somebody shooting fireworks. Do a lot of snack crate videos on Facebook Live, but I've been away from those for a little bit, but we still have about 4 of those left over, so we're gonna get into those. I love snack crate. It's where you get the boxes from all over different countries, and you can have it to where it's a surprise, so you don't know which country that it comes from. But and I like it that way so that you don't know what you're getting when you open it. So we don't know which countries we have on the table, but we have 4 boxes on the table.
What's in those?
You get like different candies, different chips, different drinks. It's kind of like snacks from all over the different countries. hmm
Me and my mom like to color a lot, and sometimes we go across the street to the middle school and we ride our bikes, and we play board games and watch movies a lot.
We try to make everything fun because well, it's easy to do that. I mean, sometimes we go to the movies. Even just staying home, watching a movie on the TV, board games. Um, Chiquita is really into baking, and the kids love helping her with that, especially tasting. So, that's one of the highlights. Is especially we got Zaya a baking, I don't know what you call it, baking set for kids. It's pink colored. So it's got a spatula, some measuring cups, spoons, apron, and all that stuff, so she can help mommy bake, or bake her own stuff. And that's one of the things we like to do. What else? The snack crate boxes. That's a big hit with them. I don't really mind what we do as long as the kids enjoy it. Phase 10, Uno, we Nintendo Switch, so they like playing that. Another thing is Zaya's into cheerleading now, and Liam right now is in basketball, but he plays basketball and baseball and football, so we have those times together at practice and at the games. It's fun to see them compete with other kids and them cheer each other on, I guess. Chiquita just had a concert at the church. Zaya joined in and sang with them, so she really loves singing with her mother. We try and find fun things to do and just about try and make any little thing fun, if that makes sense. Earlier this year in April we went to Universal, so they got a good kick out of that. 2 years ago, in 21, before all the hospital stuff happened, we went to SeaWorld. So that was a fun time with them. The downside of end stage renal disease and being on dialysis is that you can't say you want to go on a cruise or go out of town for vacation for a week. Well, normal people just book their flights or their how they're going to get there or book their hotel. But in our case, we can't do that because we have to plan how she's going to get dialysis while we're gone. If it's a short trip from here, we can just bring our stuff with us. It's a couple days. But anything longer than that, I mean, if you take a road trip to, say we take a road trip to somewhere, we're going to stay there for 5 days. She needs 5 days worth of dialysis treatments and supplies we have to take with us. I mean, that's pretty much all the space in the car.
This is Miss Nix. This is my dialysis machine. And first I have to turn it on. Now that that's on, I basically come over here and get me some gloves after I sanitize my hands. Put on my gloves.
I help you sometimes.
You do help me. Zaya is one of my helpers. Move my phone for me. Alright, this is my kidney. Outside my body, should I say. That works. This right here is basically my kidney. That works. This is the dialyzer thing that my blood has to go through. But I just basically pop these little tabs off. And I have to do this 5 days a week. And depending on what I'm doing during the week, I'll decide which 5 days that I want to do that. And I just put this part on my arm and try to tighten them as I go. The blue, the yellow, and the red. And basically tighten them. This is the arterial line, which is what your blood comes out through. This is the venous line, which is your blood goes back through. So it goes out and come back in the circle. This is the saline, so if you got to get fluid through. Huh? I meant the waistline, I'm sorry. And the white part is the saline. Thank you, because I said that wrong. But just take all these off. And put it in the machine. Put that on my arm. Then I go over here. And, oh, it don't look like the light on there. But I just basically put it in here. And I got to put it through the little latches. Put it on in there. Making sure that it fit down without messing up. Put the handle up, push it down, and pull it down. This be the tricky part. You got to kind of try to put it through the side to make sure that everything get connected. Normally there's light over here, but because I've been doing it for a while, I kind of just can feel it. And put it on the whole side. Of course, because I'm saying it, I ain't gonna feel it. Or not. Thank you. I'm about to say goodbye. It will be because I said something. Put it over here in the hole. I think I might be missing the hole. Alright. Lord, help me, Lord. I'm about to say, I see the hole. There we go. I'm about to say, I see it. I couldn't get it in there. Alright. And then this is my saline bag. Right here. This is basically just the fluid. I dropped so far across the floor. Alright, and then take this and we're going to twist that off. And then this right here, you got to just make sure that the cords aren't tangled up. Which a lot of times they kind of get tangled up. But it's best to untangle them before you get on the machine. Because if you don't, they'll be all twisted up. Uh-oh. It is kind of weird that these are all tangled like that. Next stage, y'all got stuff all going different ways today. Alright, there we go. But what is going on? Then just take this off and you got to kind of put it in here. And I just kind of go back and forth till they go in. Once I put that in there, just basically want to make sure that you can see it through the bag. Then I just hang this up. And then I press this button right there. That's priming my machine. And you will see once this goes 23 more minutes to wait. And then it'll be finished. And then I have to start priming the lines and shaking this and putting it up there. But I got 23 minutes to wait. So usually what I do at this time, I go take a shower and start all that process so that I can sanitize my site. But when we come over here to this section, right here, I kind of just have me like a little something. I like to eat candy on the machine. But this right here, I have to have my heparin, which is in these little smaller boxes right here. I have my bottles of heparin that I have to draw out for after the treatment, where I have to put heparin on both sides, my venous line and my arterial line, which is the red and blue line. And that's just to keep the blood from clotting. This is what I have to pull it out with after the machine finishes. I have to pull the old heparin out of my lines in order to flush it. And then I have to do 2 flushes, which is to basically make sure you clear the lines. And I use Tegaderm because I'm allergic to all of the other dressings right here, so that it'll go that way. Then of course you have to have gloves and your mask. And this is the stuff that I clean my dialysis site with. But yeah, this is a everyday pretty much life that I have to live on dialysis. And while that stuff is running, I just kind of wait, go get a shower and get my weight. And we have little iPads that they give us to chart all the stuff with on here. So basically I would just go on here and put my code in there just to make sure that I start my treatment. And every time I start a treatment, it goes to the clinic so that they can see that I'm doing my dialysis. And once you don't get on, it'll see that too. And all of this goes into account to make sure that you get a kidney or not. So once I mash start and then I put my information in, it'll chart for today that I did my dialysis. And if you don't get on, it charts that too. So it's best to do your dialysis treatment when you do home, because if you don't do it, they'll see that. And then that'll hold you up from being on the transplant as well. Because doing all your treatments, they want to know if you did your treatments and see if you'll take care of your kidney once you get it. But that's the part of dialysis that you all don't really see. It's setting up a machine, and then I'll be hooking up and sitting on there for almost 4 hours.
Do you usually do it at night?
I do it at night because I work from 11 to 6, and then I come home, take a shower, so at least by 8 o'clock every night I try to get on.
Oh, yeah. That is a process.
And then this is my little friend. His name is Friend. He was in the hospital. I got him as a gift when I was in the hospital from one of my cousins, and he goes to my hospital, stays with me. His name is Friend. He's a sloth. So, yeah.
But he's not slow.
But he's not slow. That's right. He's fast. He likes to run. But my husband decorated this right here for me, and I colored those pages when I was in the hospital. And so he made it look all nice and homey.
She likes to color.
I love to color. Yeah.
All right.
And this my little chair with my little pillow and stuff in it. And we have to check our blood pressure constantly. Like about 10 or 12 times during the treatment. So yeah, it's a whole process. I'm doing all of that too. Then we got to get our weight and all kind of stuff. You have to weigh yourself before you get on and when you get off to see how much fluid you might have pulled off. Then I just use this as a little trash bag.
What about the labs?
Oh yeah, every month I have to do labs. Like for a normal dialysis patient, you have to go into the clinic to do labs. But for me, I do my own labs. So I have to do the little, I think this one there on the sink. The little boxes with the tubes. You have to get like these right here. I have to, I know you probably see these at the doctor's offices, but I have to draw my own labs, and I have to do like different color tubes, the purple and the blue and greens and yellows, different ones like that, or it'll be a red and two purples. But I have to do different labs each month, and when those labs go off, I'll send them in, and my nurses will tell me like what I need to work on. Or so far everything's been great. So that's a good thing. But usually like trying to watch your phosphorus, which is in everything. Phosphorus is even in water. So like phosphorus is one thing, like it'll make everything go out of whack. But it's hard to like filter different things that what you're eating, because my kidneys don't work well. So usually your kidneys filter everything out of your bodies, but mine doesn't. So like you have to be overprotective on what we're eating and stuff. So, but yeah, this is my kidney for me right now. But while this is priming, it's 17 more minutes, and until that's finished, then usually I'll have to take this off and like hit it to take the air out. Then I put it up there and got to take the lines and pop it and stuff. But it's a different task, and I had to go to training. What was it, 2 weeks? That's the fast training to learn how to do all of this and how to work my catheter and all that on my own. But it takes a process.
It was a month. It was a month.
Well, it was a month to go through, but it's a 2 week like fast process. But you have to go through like classes. It can be up to like 6 weeks, but mine was kind of faster. But it's a process and how long to do it. But yes, it was a month. But it'll be nice when it doesn't have to be at all. But once this is finished priming, like it'll give you like you'll hear it, like no matter where you are, it beeps really, really loud to let you know like to come to the machine, and it'll flash, and then you hit the silent button, and then it'll flash again, and that lets you know that it's ready. So, but there's a batch down here. This is all the cleaning solution stuff, and it's hard to pull out because now like it's hooked up to my sink, but it cleans, all my cleaning solution is down here. So this is what cleans my blood. It'll go in here, and then my blood comes out my body, goes through these cords, run through the machine, go in through this way, and then it comes back in here to my body. And this red cord is what my blood comes out, and then it goes back through the blue cord. It cleans it, it goes back into my body. So it's like it comes out one way, go through the machine, and then come back in. So, yeah. So this is dialysis 101 at its best. The only way you can explain on hemodialysis at home. But that's it.
You see why it's hard to go on trips with that thing.
Yeah, that's a big machine.
It's a big machine. And then this down here, like, if you can't, you're on a trip, you know, the water where you go, you have to get it tested. So you can't go to a hotel and use their water. It might be dirty. Like, they have to come here and test our water to make sure that it's safe enough. So if we go on trips or something, we have to take boxes. Like, it's like about 5 of these boxes a piece. And it's big old boxes of bags of, like 5-liter bags.
5 liter.
And I have to use 5 of those for one treatment. So it's like, you know, it's like really, really heavy boxes. So like someone like me, I can't keep lifting those boxes. My husband would have to keep lifting them to put them. Like when I use bags, we have to put them up here. And then you see that's 4. So we would have to use another one and put one on the heater. So it's a lot. So I try to just make a batch, and one batch is good for 2 days, for 2 treatments. But after the second day, you got to try to start another batch. Otherwise, you can be stuck, and then you got to do bags.
Yeah.
And then, and this is just, I need to reorganize my shelf, but this is my shelf with my extra dialysis supplies and stuff on there. Got a lot of different saline bags and all kind of other stuff in here. But this is kind of just my little area of different things. You would probably see stuff like this at the hospital, in doctor's offices, but just different cloths and stuff to clean with. And that's it. I technically just wash and take care of a couple of other things, go cook a little bit while this is doing it, and that'll be it until it's finished. And like I said, no matter where you are, when it beeps, you're gonna know because it's really loud. You can like hear it if you're in the front porch, like on the front porch. You can hear it all the way up back here. So by that time, I just come and hit it and turn it off. And my husband, he's a great help. Like if I'm at work, like he'll try to start the machine. So by the time I get off, I can just come home, take a shower, and then get on. Or like he'll start the sack for me. He'll start it because like a lot of times like, I don't go trying to see which cord goes to which at the bottom. He'll hook that up for me, you know. So he's a great help. Even with getting me off, because sometimes I'll be over here asleep on the machine, and and like I'll be weak like most times when it's time to get off, and he'll come in and he'll try to help me like unhook so I don't have to stand up, because when all your blood comes out your body and you're standing up, it's like zoom, like this, like you are so lightheaded. So like he'll try to get up, and he's probably sleeping, have to be to work at like 4 in the morning, but he'll get up in the middle of the night just to come help me unhook. So that's a lot. But yeah, this is the whole process of dialysis. I guess the side that people don't see. You only see, I guess, the part of hearing Chiquita's on dialysis, but this is what it's like having to do this, and then obviously having to clean my site. But it's different stuff like that. And with these right here, let's see. You have to let the air out. Not necessarily that I'm a nurse, but I am my own nurse. Oh, thank you for my trash. But these have air in it, and you don't want the air to go in your body, so you have to take the top off, squeeze the water out, basically so you don't have the air go into my line, and then you just kind of get it ready that way. Also, and if anything ever touch the floor, you just leave it, because once you pick up anything off the floor, your hands are dirty. That's ready. And then this one, do that one right there. Put that back up there.
It's right there.
Oh, you got one? Oh, it's already unopened. Thank you, because I had to open another one. Alright, and then this. Alright, so this one is already open, which is good if they're already open. You just got to make sure that you sanitize the top, because it's already open, so you got to clean it, because germs go on everything. And if I had to draw up heparin right now, which is, I don't have to do like a bolus before I start. Usually I just do it at the end. But if I had to, you would basically just put some air in it first. You would take the top off, turn it upside down, do it like this, and then pull it back and draw up however much heparin you would need. And then take it and go back on there. And then you take the top, put the top back on. Obviously watch what you're doing so you don't stick yourself. And then put it back down until you do both of them, and then that'll be it for until you finish your treatment. And then just obviously clean your lines and do your dressing, and through each dressing you will have to take your gloves off and sanitize your hands with more sanitizer, and do that as well. Like constantly washing your hands, sanitizing, changing gloves, that's something you do like 1,000 times. So you probably see these all over my house, because I have sanitizer everywhere. But yeah, there's sanitizer all over the place. Because it's this one's not open. What's this one? Would be twisting the harness. But yeah, there's sanitizer on probably every counter in my house. But that's why. But, yeah. I made those pictures when I was in the hospital, and I thought these were a couple of them that stood out. Do not give up. You are stronger than your fear. And I always say, each day, but this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And that is Psalm 118, verse 24.
I love my mom very much, and I want what's the best for her. So I would like you guys to help and support her so we can do all the fun things we want to do with her.
I believe the website is mayoclinic.org/livingdonor. If you feel that you're interested in it, you fill out a questionnaire, I believe, and you put her name in, Chiquita Holmes, and they will contact you, and you will take the next steps to see if you are a qualified donor. Just know that you won't have to endure any expenses. Her insurance will pay for all of their testing on you. I don't know if a lot of people know that. A lot of people might think, well, I don't have money to pay for them to run tests on me and all those medical bills. Well, her insurance pays for all of that. So don't let that be a reason not to do it. And I'm sure there's programs to cover gas and food, time off of work for you to travel to Mayo to do all the testing. So don't let that be a reason not to look into being a donor.
I just want to say, a lot of times as a dialysis patient, I guess I can only speak for myself, but me being a dialysis patient, I don't express how I feel a lot because I've been sick ever since I was 9 dealing with diabetes, but I don't show that I'm sick because people look for you to show that you're sick. So you have to kind of just have a smile on your face at all times because people are looking for you to show some sign of weakness. So if you see me and I look strong, thank you, because it takes a lot to even get up in the morning, to be able to stand on my legs. It takes a lot. And I just want to let everyone know we do all go through different things, but you have to be strong. And just because you have to be strong doesn't mean that you are strong. So that's one thing I just wanted to share. Just because a person might look like they're not sick doesn't mean that they're not. And I guess I carry myself that way, but I don't know no other way to be than to just be cheerful, be happy, and make myself not look sick. My name is Chiquita Holmes, and I thank you for watching. If you can help, please help. If not, just pray, and prayer will reach me as well. Thank you. I feel like you should never give up. And even that very thing that you're afraid of, which for me, my fear is dying. But I'm stronger than my fear, which means that I still need to live. So as long as I'm doing dialysis, it's giving me another day to live. So keep going, and then as I live, I have to know each day that this is the day that the Lord has made. So I just felt like those are 3 other things that stood out.